guess start with some house cleaning. Is Keandre good to go?
So we've got some game time decisions that we're making today.
Assuming JT is in that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's anybody that we were talking about are game time decisions.
Is Igor back in that tonight?
Yes.
Is there anything you could tell us about Edstrom? Has he started skating yet? Any
No.
update there?
No update really.
And no, he hasn't skated?
No.
Just with the D pairs right now, obviously, Keandre getting game time, what are you curious about to see with Lindgren and Vakanainen? And with that, I guess, do you almost give more responsibility to Jones and Schneider just because of their familiarity, or does that even matter at all?
No, we'll probably play it the same way we always do. We use 6D. Some get different zone starts, some get different opponents, but I don't think that will change. Vax on the right-hand side, I think, is a change for him tonight, but we're pretty confident that he'll be able to handle that and be fine there.
How about Toronto with the challenge they're doing for them recently?
Yeah, I mean they're an offensive team. I mean they've got high-end skill and firepower, and we're gonna have to make sure that we're playing well defensively. But the teams that we played recently, as well, are capable of scoring a lot of goals. Buffalo scored a lot of goals recently, and the Islanders, their offense has been pretty good lately, and so. Seems like every night you get an opponent, and they've got some players that you got to be mindful of, and Toronto certainly fits that situation. So I think just making sure that we're doing the right things defensively.
If Matthew Robertson plays tonight, just what do you want to see out of him?
He's a guy that's coming up here for me, a steady two-way game. He's a big guy. He can skate. He can close quick. He can be hard on bodies and physical in the battles. So if he gets that opportunity, it's a great chance for him to show what he can do also.
I know it was only one game that they put them back together last year to check in Panarin, but what have you seen from that trio, even going back to before the break, like the end of January? It just kind of felt like they cooled off a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I thought they picked up. Maybe it takes just a little bit to get going too. Once you've been away from somebody, they've been with different players. I thought the third period was their best period offensively. They had a couple chances off the rush. There was a couple odd man rushes that they generated. For me, when they're working for each other and moving for each other, they can become difficult to play against. I think they read off of each other well. When they're connected, they're tough to defend because they're slippery, they're skilled, and they seem to know where they're at on the ice. They seem to know where each other's at on the ice. The third period, I thought they got going. Hopefully they can pick up off of that and continue to push offensively.
I'm sorry if you answered this yesterday, but have you worked with a 5-forward unit before, in your career?
I'm sure somewhere I have, yeah. I don't think anything ever long term, but I'm sure somewhere I have.
And just with the setup, did you talk to guys prior about who would be most comfortable being the quarterback and whatnot, or is that something that I guess you figured out throughout practices?
We just figured things out with regard to that. They move around an awful lot anyway. It's hard to say that one guy stays in one position on the power play. You know what I mean? It's not like they're stationary. Because I guess our net front guy is pretty stationary, but the other four move pretty frequently into each other's spot, and so that shouldn't be an issue.
Zac had a step up last year for a good month. What do you expect now this time? You've been tripped down about stay ready. What do you expect now?
Well, I think he's in a good spot. I mean, it coincides with him going down and playing those games and getting those minutes in. He looked good in practice yesterday. He's a good skating, puck moving defenseman. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's come into situations before for us, and he's played really well. And so, we need him now to come in and fill those shoes, and we're confident that he can do that.
Craig Berube has talked about sensing some fatigue with Austin Mitch, his Four Nations guys. What's been your sense of the guys who played at the Four Nations and the challenge they faced coming back into regular season hockey?
Probably be a better question for them as to how they're feeling in the fatigue part of it. I always think that there's they left the big stage and big games, and for me it's an emotional thing of coming back, and not that it's not important here, but everybody watched that game. Everybody watched the first one, everybody watched the second one, everybody watched all the games, but certainly the U.S.-Canadian game drew a lot of attention, and with that came a lot of emotion. you know, just like inside of a playoff game or an overtime win, you don't want to see that step backwards. And so I think our guys have come in and played pretty good. You know, we've gotten some wins here. There's been a game where we don't think we were on point, but you know, we're long past that and looking for a good game tonight. So hopefully, you know, the further we get away from it. We do try to be mindful of fatigue as well. Try and control it the best we can. Optional skate the most morning. Most likely anybody that was on the ice yesterday isn't going out with regard to those players that you're talking about.